our children are being defiled and they are taken to Congo to hide them in Congo where they have other relatives. And the process of looking for justice for these children, it cannot be successfully done because at some level they will need the victim herself to make to give a statement or to be a witness in court. And if they have run to Congo, there's no way you will get them, especially during this COVID era. We almost lost 2 cases where we could not get the witnesses at the last hour because they were in DRC. But we thank God that we worked with the leadership locally at the border and we managed to get one of them and the case had to proceed. We are also having another challenge in Kasese of at some good number, we are still practicing negative norms basing on culture, where they say, no, you need not to report your neighbor, you need not to report your relative, you need not to report. These things of reporting are going to destroy the relationship within the clan, and therefore children are just being abused because people must protect some negative norms that are referred in the cultural manner. We are also having a challenge of separation of parents. Gender-based violence is contributing a lot to child abuse issues. The issue of child neglect, which may lead a girl child to be abused sexually, it is as a result of the high rate of GBV cases that we are registering as a result of maybe conflicts in the marriages, maybe continuous conflicts that has taken place in the region. Poor parenting remains a strong challenge amidst other challenges that we have as Kasese district. Even when government is trying to make sure that we talk to the parents, we go to radios, we sensitize the communities, we get the dialogues, but the issue of parenting is standing, and I'm telling you that so many challenges that we are facing is as a result of poor parenting. Poor parenting in a way that women in some families, they think that responsibilities of meeting home needs belongs to men. Even when they have the capacity to support their families, they still believe that it is only the man, the husband, the head of the family to provide for the family. And this is putting the children at high risk of being abused in a situation where the parent, the male parent, is not able to meet the required needs in the family. The power imbalance in the family. The issue of culture, the inheritance. When a woman knows that I will not benefit out of my sweat, then at some level, she's not bothering to work for the family. And at the end of the day, it is the children who are suffering. Parenting, how often do we sit with our children to plan with them, to know what is paining them, to know the challenges they are passing through, to know when the child is, what she needs, especially when she goes for menstruation.
What is bringing right now the teenage pregnancies? We have challenges of poor parenting by our parents. Parents are not doing their role. We have left the children at God's mercy. Children are there with maids. Children are there just at home who have gone to look for what the children will eat. We also have another challenge of poor reporting. Out of those cases, there are very few cases that have been reported at police as defilement cases. You find some parents come and report. At the end of the day, they come back and say, we are not interested in the case. Then at the end of it all, if there is no substantive evidence, this case will die. We also have a challenge of the terrain, where we have defilers or perpetrators. These people end up running up the mountain or crossing to Congo, because we are bordering Congo. At the end of the day, to look for this perpetrator, it's always a challenge.
As Rwenzori district, we are really not doing well. And for those of you who could have come across the recent parliament, I think around the 3rd, where our Mama Janet Museveni was part of that meeting or the gathering, and they're trying to put across the different statistics of how the teenage pregnancies, the child marriages, how they are within the entire country. And under our region here in Rwenzori, it came out that Chenjejo district and Kasese, they were actually leading. We are really facing a very big challenge in terms of our children getting pregnant. And it's out of this that even we have those that are already married off. We have to really come up to have a plan on how we can curb these vices, because the pandemic has increased the problem. The parents have left the role they're supposed to participate in the upbringing of their children, better parenting practices and the like. The parents are no longer at home. In fact, during this pandemic, we are realizing the importance of a teacher, because most of these children normally stay at school. But now you find parents are neglecting their children. The time that they've been with them, they have gotten spoiled, meaning they are not taking over their responsibilities as parents. They are leaving the burden to maybe the maids or to these other caretakers. They're entrusting their responsibilities with others or their children. And yet these very people we trust that they can help our children are the very perpetrators, or they're the very people who are spoiling our children.
Amabara gange metamba mpevasi nyine 16 nyikanya kitoko libi bakantweka ndi musomero nali ndi P6 obantweke iso yangu umwana ntaka kutia amabara kumurolera nimba nabo beri nde batabatweka bachali musomero.
Amabara kansime zeni ninduga busoma B nkakura ntayinisenyo wisenya akafa yansigande muto obunakuzire mu myaka 17 narora tinyine cyo kukora tinkusoba kweyamba nafuna omusaiza namanya najya kundolera mbulike mutyona obunatoyirendo omusaiza yanga kundolera kunyamba obunazeire nagaruka muka mwa mama atsaze nundi muka mwa mama nisigo mwana muka ngenda kutera amabale nikwefuna yakasente kugura sukali ne sabuni byo mwana abisiki nimbahabura nabo batagenda mukohebwa kwango kunagiremu ningenda kuswerwa nimanya musiza nyajya kunyamba kandi atakunyamba nimbahabura abisiki batahe bange bikare nabo batakole byange binakoze.
amabara ninyotimbagamba star nindugamba soma B nyowe nkafuna obuzibu natwalenda nkabangiza nti omusajja najja kunyamba nyine emyaka 14 obu nafunerenda obu yalinekora omusajja yiruka yagenda namanya nti obu ndazare jagaruka obu nazeye nabo yalema kugaruka nkayiya muno nagula ebyahe nagura bafu nazara omwana betu nagunugwa katakaijaga nimpiya muno kora nafuna sente z'obusara neze sabuni omwana nkamuiha ibere abo kunyonka kumfuna omulimu abazeyi bange bakagamba ngo miseze nenda nabo bakaba bakimanyi bati omusajja najja kunyamba betatu bakarata kunyamba obu nenda nkabangambira ogiyamu bazeyi bange bantanga obu nabazeyi bange tubakweyamba betu nkaguma muno nakuza omwana wange uko bagenzi bange nimbagamba batapapa muno kuzara webizibu ebimboine ebizibu ebimboinemu aho kuntweka bakanga kundolera nimbahabura muno batapapa kuzara
nyama baragange banyita Kimasara ninduganya Kitokoli B gazara bakantweka ngaba nisoma ngaba ndi mchakatano bantweka nazaramuka baba omwana tumanyire timanyire na mbere kwikara nindolero mwana wange nisera kasenta habwange nimurolera nimutwara obwarararwa ninyo mutwara mwirwaro mugura kasabuni mugura magita nyowe musaida wange tinkumanya na mbere kwikara tinkumanya abo wabo abo omwana tinkumanya kale byona musaida wange nyowe akantweka yagena ngaba nisoma na Kitokoli primary school ine myaka 15 ninyerolera nyeka akantweka nyine myaka 14 yagenda tinkumanya na mbere kwikara abange kale bakabihwa ukundi omusaida akakoraka akairuka yagenda no waba timanyire ati naleka kusoma naizamuka nazaro mwana wange ngugu alimukukura ninyo nkumurolera bulikyo mkyona nyo abaisikiva katayibange nimbagambira berinde kubatweka osero omusaida wao kuswera kutwara osento wani akairuka ati nyo nkakenda polisi bangaguza omusaida tinkumanya na mbere ali twabirugamu twabereka nyama baraganga banyita tungu ya yeri ninduka mnya Kitokoli B ine myaka 17 bakantweka ngabandi mucyomukaga mfrede byamaze kuntweka yakwata manda yagenda obu yagenzere yabura takumpa buyambi naikara muka umwana sazino alimuka ninyo nimurolera ninkora kurora namugura buli kintu cyona sazino nkaliruga abo umwana abakwa tuso kusoma ino umwana kasobora nabazire bange nabatabaina sente sazino nyo kurolera umwana ise mwana timanye na mbere ali betu mumanyire timanye na mbere ali akairuka yagenda yansigira umwana ata yansigira umwana sazino umwana ndi nawe umwana yakamara amezi 7 sazino takumpa kantu timanye na mbere ali nanga batantere batanzuma kintu kumba kagamba wakutwekere nona gamba nanka yiruka yakoraki yagenda hata nababirugaho naikara nyo narolero mwana wange nisera 10 nimpagasa kurora nakoraki namurolera so muntu wakumurolera nogu ninyo kumurolera nyenka nikoraki nimbona bana nisera sente abasiki batayibanye nyo nigaba beirinda kurungi basome batayisana kanyowe abokuba ebintu nkebe nibitalibaniza muno kuzaru cyane mwana muto bagume bakule balazaro maze kukora
have been put on the spot as perpetrators of gender-based violence, including early pregnancies and teenage pregnancies. But the question we ask, what are the triggers of this? To me, in my own analysis, I look at several things ranging from social, economic, as well as political. Because when you look at, for example, now, the traditional role of men, of providers, has been challenged. So there is increasing family neglect. Because men have neglected their families, you find it increases the issues of violence. There is also increasing drug abuse. People are using drugs, and you know drugs impair your reasoning, and you end up becoming an abuser. Yeah. So those are some of the issues that are really what? Triggering some of the increase in the upsurge of the gender-based violence. Of course, there are other social factors like normalization. There are studies which have shown that people think that, like mostly, they interviewed women, and 40% of the women agreed that being beaten by your husband is something normal, that it is a what? It's a show of love. So you can see the extent to which it has been normalized in society. Then, of course, there is what we call masculine sexual privileges, where society actually applauds men who have more sexual partners. Yet this brings stability in the home, economically and socially. Because with meager resources, you find a man is having several women who all have to depend on him. So it brings an aspect of living in what? In shortages. And this brings a recipe for gender-based violence, and especially violence against women and children, because they are the ones who are mostly victims. We need to bring men, boys on board and work as partners. So we need to promote more of male engagement. We need role model men. We need a critical mass of men who will join this struggle, so that we actually get rid of what? We get rid of this vice of gender-based violence, because it is something that's constructed. It's not normal. I believe we can get away with it, but of course we have to combine our efforts, of course, to do this.
Statistics show, for example, according to the annual crime report of 2020-2019, that women and girls are the most affected, and there is a small number of men that are being affected, only that they do not report to police because of the process of socialization, where they are told not to show their weakness in society. Even when they are hurting, they cannot be able to report the cases that do affect them. But we do believe that they are also human beings. They have feelings, they have emotions, and when they are hurt, they are supposed to air it out. Only that the society kind of suppresses their feelings, and they can't ably come to police to report. But there are a few men who have taken that courage, who come to police, especially to the offices of child and family, and report these cases. We have the Uganda Police Force Gender Policy, which is inward-looking, addressing the structures, the policies, and strategies within the Uganda Police Force. The Uganda Police Force Gender Policy is geared towards making the force gender responsive to issues of women, girls, men, and boys, so that once the issues of women, men, girls, and boys are addressed, Uganda Police Force has also created specialized departments. For example, the Department of Sexual and Gender-Based Violence and Children-Related Offences, which is under the Directorate of CID, to be able to investigate all sexual offences. There is also the Child and Family Protection Department, which deals with domestic violence-related cases and child abuse cases. We also have in place the Women Affairs Department that addresses issues that affect the female police officers, so that they are able to offer better services to the members of the public. We have also designed modules on gender, child protection and human rights, which we have included in the curriculum for the initial officers in the training schools. We've developed them at 2 levels. One is for the senior officers and the other one is for the lower cadres, where they have to get to know what gender-based violence is all about, what human rights is all about, and what child protection entails, so that they are able to respond effectively and prevent cases of gender-based violence in the community. We also have the Department of Community Policing that is responsible for bridging the gap between the members of the public and police. So they are our mouthpiece as the Uganda Police Force. They give out information on all issues relating to the Uganda Police Force, but also raise awareness in the community on how best we can work together to make sure that we prevent gender-based violence, violence against women, and violence against children. I would like to inform members of the public out there to make use of the offices of child and family to report cases of gender-based violence, domestic violence, and violence against children. Do not take law in your hands. Do not suffer in silence. Get to know that there is an office where you can report. You can choose to go to the LCs or go to your neighbor and share with them whatever is paining you. But you can also go straight to court. There is that provision. Wherever you go, you're able to be helped.
I wish to thank everybody who has combined efforts to ensure that we end the gender-based violence in the Rwenzori region. The people in the Rwenzori region are proud to say that we are taking seriously this problem, and we are informing everybody to be an ambassador to sensitize the different people in all the 9 districts and the city and tell them end gender-based violence. And once everybody is aware of this, once everybody knows that with gender-based violence, you cannot have a peaceful home, you cannot have a peaceful community, then we shall end up all fighting the vice. We are struggling to ensure that everybody becomes a partner in this, everybody becomes an ambassador. And we are lobbying seriously to bring everybody on board. I want to call upon all stakeholders. I want to call upon all the non-government organizations, the CBOs, the churches, to join the cultural institutions, to join everybody to ensure that we end gender-based violence in Rwenzori region. I thank you.